Welcome to 28 Days and Beyond.
Where we talk about our history, our heritage, and our culture.
I'm Amari.
I'm Kharisma. Welcome back.
What's up, Rez?
What's up, AJ?
What's going on?
Chilling.
Here we go. You're an artist.
I am. So are you.
And you're sensitive about your intellectual property.
Yes, I am.
Which is what we're talking about today. So check this. Cats be thieving out here.
This is true.
Right?
Yes.
Especially now, we live in a time where, we have access to all of this technology. We can upload it to sound, music. We can upload SoundCloud,
Yep.
or, if you're an artist, you can upload to Instagram or whatever have you. But that also means that you're exposing yourself to stone cold thievery,
people, yeah.
right? That's also an option. Now, we know there's a long history of, particularly for black artists and black people in general. Jack Daniels, for instance.
Yes,
right?
I heard this story recently.
Invented by a black man, and the owner of the plantation he was forced to work on, I'll put it that way, stole the recipe and basically, turned it into fine Tennessee whiskey, right?
Yes.
So intellectual property is something that's extremely crucial to a very creative people such as ourselves.
Yes.
But unfortunately, in these conditions, it's often something that we've had our intellectual property stolen, cashed in on by others, and so on and so forth.
So wait, did you hear about this story fairly recently with Fortnite?
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah.
the Carlton dance?
Yeah, and
Remember
all that
Fresh
other
Prince?
stuff. What's
Well, it was a couple
what's this
things,
one that
right?
the kids be doing? That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
But I'd like to see you do that
Yeah,
again.
I
Like
will.
stand up and do it.
Anyway, yeah.
But yeah, he's suing them because, when everyone thinks of that dance, you think of Carlton from The Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
And then they started using, this dance that he created,
Yep.
his intellectual property, without his permission.
But that's what there's the other dance. This one, they do that dance. What's that called? I don't know.
We're gonna
They
have
do the
to-
flaws. However anyway.
I want to see you do all these.
But the point is, I was watching a little video where they were talking with lawyers who were saying that this is actually pretty difficult ground to make a claim for intellectual property on, because of all this legal jargon that hopefully we'll get into today.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was like a nice little segue.
Alley-oop.
Thank you. I'll try to make sure I make it.
Please do.
So our guest today,
Yep.
Ryan Raymond, is a law student at Villanova. He's going to be talking to us about intellectual property and different ways that, we can protect ourselves, both as musicians and artists, but also a number of other fields that we can kind of talk about and figure out ways that, because there's so much information out there, right?
Right.
And so much that we don't know.
Yeah,
Like usually
yeah.
if you're on the creative side, you worry about creating, but you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
necessarily think about ways to protect yourself
Certainly.
moving forward.
Yep.
So Ryan Raymond is going to be joining us today.
He's gonna break it down.
He's going to break it all the way
way
down.
down.
But we have to take a little bit of a break. So we'll be back with more 28 Days and Beyond right after this.
We're back on 28 Days and Beyond. Joined now by Ryan Raymond.
Welcome.
Thank you.
What's going on,
Glad
man?
to be here. I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
Yeah, that's
Thank
awesome.
you. Yes. Let's jump right into it.
Sure.
What is intellectual property?
So intellectual property is 4 different categories. There's copyright, there's trademarks, there's trade secrets, and there's patents.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's start at the beginning. Since you broke it down into four
Right.
sections.
Wait, hold on. To get the
All right,
notepad
so
out, right?
copyright, what does that include?
So copyright is basically you copying your work. So it has to be original to the author as well as fixed and intangible medium. So a fixed tangible medium can literally be a napkin to a CD to an MP3 to a painting. So something that's actually physical.
So like say if it's a song, for instance, if it's in the written form, you can copyright just the lyrics.
Correct.
And you can also copyright the lyrics with the music.
Correct.
Awesome.
And then with music too, and a lot of people don't know, there's actually 2 copyrights to a song. So there's the musical composition portion of it, and there's also the sound recording of it. So the famous example that a lot of people use is Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You. So her version is the sound recording, but Dolly Parton wrote the lyrics and the
Right.
melody. And so she owns what's called the musical composition for it. And so
The
that's
arrangement? Is
the
that the same?
arrangement, that's another
Okay.
another word that's used for it as well. So having those 2 things, and that's what gets confusing with record labels, because record labels typically own, sound recorders also known as the masters, which is what the record label own, and you have the sound recording, or the musical composition, which is what the publishers own.
Okay.
So, copyright, trademark, trademark. Okay, here we go.
Right.
If you were just to put the TM signal,
Right.
the sign symbol,
Right.
next to it, does that automatically make it a trademark?
It does make it a trademark, or it gives you
Interesting.
trademark protection, but it's from a common law or a state level. So it's not a
So-
federal level that you I have it registered for.
Oh man,
So
so
what
much.
does-
My head is
so-
spinning right now.
So what is the difference?
So with federal, you'll get certain statutory damage. So for instance, if you can't, so for instance, in a copyright case, you may not necessarily know what the value of your song or your artwork might be. So if someone infringes, you can go somewhere from $750 to $150,000 for every time they infringe on your work.
And you
That
just
is a
and you
big
just like it
range.
was worth 150. That's what it was. Let
Exactly,
the judge
but it's
decide.
per instance. So if they do it for make 100 copies of your album, so you times that by 150,000, you can come up with a good large lump sum.
So there's also the poor man's copyright. Is that an urban legend?
So automatically get a copyright. So once it's fixed in the original tangible fixed medium, you automatically have a copyright. The benefit in registering a copyright is that you're able to get statutory damage as well as your attorney fees, as well as you can actually bring a lawsuit under federal court.
Because I've definitely done poor man's copyright.
Yeah, right,
Where
exactly.
You put it in the manila envelope and you mail it to yourself
Right.
and you seal it and,
And
it's
then
like,
there's
do not
the-
open.
yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
write it on the
Just in
package.
case.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's trying to give you a date and trying to give you something that's actually in a fixed medium.
Right.
Because unfortunately, a lot of people think ideas can be copyrighted. Like, oh, I got this great idea. For
Yeah, right,
something.
exactly.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you that. So ideas are not.
No, ideas are not copyrighted.
It has
Unless
to
you
be
make them in a fixed
intangible.
medium.
Correct.
Fixed and tangible medium.
Yes,
That's what
fixed
it's
and
called. Okay,
tangible.
gotcha.
Exactly.
Number 3 was.
Wait. I have
oh.
a quick one about it was trademark, right, that we were talking about?
Right.
Okay, so if I have a brilliant idea for a T-shirt, because I do,
Right.
is that something that I would want to trademark or?
Right. It will be something that you want to trademark. So what a trademark is that it's a source identifier. So as long as it can identify the source of either the product or the service, that's what you would do a trademark. So you can't copyright a slogan or a title, but you can trademark as long as it identifies whatever the product or the service that you're selling. It's like the famous one, Nike, just do it. Right. So we all
Right.
know that slogan. So anybody here is just do it, or good, you think of McDonald's. So it's like those are the trademarks. So yeah, as long as it identifies the source, then you're able to trademark it.
What's the third one?
Trade secret.
Trade secrets.
What is that?
So basically keeping it a secret, right? It's not letting you know. Do you know what's in a Big Mac sauce?
I have an idea.
Okay, got
I have
you.
an idea.
Crack? I don't know. What is it? You don't know? We don't know because
No.
it's a trade secret.
I can tell you off camera.
Okay.
I've tested the theory.
You tested it there, yeah?
Yes, I
So there's
have.
an option to reverse engineer and you won't get in trouble for trade secrets. So trade
Okay.
secret is basically as long as it's something that's used for business and it's kept a secret. But you have to do everything you possibly can to make sure you maintain that secret. So either having a non-disclosure form. So I'm pretty sure you guys received a non-disclosure where someone
Yes.
says, please don't discuss this because this is what makes our business.
Yeah. Okay, that
All right,
one's
so we got
interesting.
through copyright, trademark, trade secret.
But okay, but here's go ahead.
Well, I don't want to get onto the fourth one because I know we have to take a break.
Okay,
So
let's take a break.
we're gonna take a
But
break.
I still want to talk about the third one real quick.
I know. So hold that thought.
I will.
We'll be back with more 28 Days and Beyond right after this.
And we're back on 28 Days and Beyond with Ryan Raymond. So we're talking about trade secret.
Yes.
I've always wondered about something like that. Don't you have a responsibility to disclose that to like the FDA when it comes to food, right? If you have a secret ingredient, they need to know what it is.
So they'll probably be the one in the service, but they'll probably be signing an agreement in
Okay.
regards to that.
Gotcha.
You know, so it's not just something that you would just be like, oh, we're going to disclose it. Because once you disclose it, it's not a secret anymore.
Yeah.
And you no longer have that trade secret.
What would be the grounds for getting a trade secret?
Basically,
Copyright.
keep it a secret. You know, so as long as you keep it a secret, then you have that. And so as long as you don't disclose it or tell someone, or the possibility when you talked about, I had the idea of how to make the Mac sauce, and you reverse engineer it and find it out that way, then you're fine.
And then the last was?
What was
Patents.
it? Patents.
Okay, well, we know that. Well,
Do we know what that is? Let the expert
maybe not,
break
because
it
now I'm
down.
thinking it might be something else, but good.
Right, so patents are what you would use for an invention, something that's actually useful. So the thing about a trademark is that you can't get a trademark if it has a useful function to it, right? So you can't trademark a
Okay.
T-shirt, but you can trademark a either idea or more of a process or an invention or machinery or something like that, something that's useful, something that's novel, which means new, or not obvious, and you can get that patented.
So how does it work for patents then if there's an idea that's already present and then someone comes along and like does an improvement on the same idea? Like how does that work?
So then you would get the improvement on the new idea, but you wouldn't get a patent on the previous idea.
Interesting.
And so you would
So
have
like
to
the
do a
f-
search.
So like the first person that decided to make toothbrushes like
So-
spin.
Oh, spin.
Spin brush,
Got
you
you.
know.
I-
Like,
Right. So
That's
basically
fancy,
it's called prior art if it's something from beforehand. So you can't patent a prior art or something that's already out there. So if you made the improvement, then you would only get the patent on the improvement, and that would give you the exclusivity to prevent other people from using it.
Okay.
So many years ago, my brother said, I got an idea. I want to put a camera on my phone.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Freaking great idea. Although at the time I was like, yo, you tripping? Why would anybody need a camera on their phone?
Right.
I didn't have vision. You know what I'm saying? He would have had to have created that in order to get the patent, right?
So you don't have to create it, but you have to be able to make sense and actually be able to possibly be made to get a patent. Because the thing about it too, the theory is that they don't want you to invest all this money. You make the camera, you make this product, and then let's say it doesn't actually work.
Got you, yeah.
So you want to be able to make sure that you clearly be able to explain it, even if you don't necessarily have a prototype that's out.
So, like, what is the process for that then? Like, say I have this great concept, would I have to, like, find someone to do the prototype, and then, where would I get the patent, like, registered?
So you would get it with the USPTO. So for a patent, I would definitely highly recommend a patent attorney because they have the background to understand how to write the language and how to write the claims, help you do the prior search, and that way you don't waste your money to file a patent, because the patent could be anywhere from a few $100. You know, so you want to make sure that you take all the right steps to do the research beforehand. And you can do a simple Google search. And so don't underestimate the power of a Google search. It will help you in a long way.
So, Ryan, let's talk about black people real quick.
Okay.
We have seen, this is historical fact, right? An abundance of creativity. Creativity for which we didn't always receive the, and I don't even want to say like its worth is measured in compensation, but we have seen people taking intellectual property of black people and capitalizing off of it. What's up with that?
I think it's more of the lack of knowledge and the lack of knowing where to actually go. And so that's why I think it's important for any creative. Like, I've talked to a lot of creative, and they're so focused on their creativity that that's all they think about. They don't necessarily think about the business. They don't think about the legal aspect of it. So I think it's important for them to actually just step out just a little bit and think about the business. How are you going to operate this room? How are you going to protect your work? And if you're not going to do that, then at least have a good team around you who are going to be able to help and support you with your vision, your ideas. And so I think that's sometimes what we lack as black folks. We don't necessarily do the research, or sometimes we might get excited. Like if you give a kid who never have money, you give him a contract and you put $500,000 next to him.
Yeah.
You know, he's more excited about the money than the contract deal.
And then the contract is basically stipulating, you know, they'll take ownership of
Basically,
X, Y, and Z.
buy your whole soul.
Right. Yeah.
So where are some of the resources folks can go to kind of find out more information if they have, you know, intellectual property that they're interested in protecting?
So Google is definitely a great place to go. If you're in Philadelphia, there's the program called Philadelphia Volunteer Lawyers of the Arts, and they help support artists, and they also provide pro bono service as long as you meet the financial stipulations. And you get free resources like that. You can call an attorney and consult with an attorney. Some of them are free and happy to talk to you about certain things, of course, as long as you don't run over an hour or so about your questions. But
He's trying to let us know. He's like, look.
but no, they're happy to consult. There's a lot of workshops. Also, there's a company called Rec Philly that's in Philadelphia as well that does a lot of work for artists and create workshops. So definitely go to a workshop and you can learn a lot more about the intellectual property.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us and sharing this wealth of wisdom with us. Hopefully you'll come back to 28 Days Beyond again. We'll be back with more 28 Days and Beyond right after this break.
And we're back on 28 Days and Beyond. Riz.
Yes, AJ.
What's up?
Did you learn a lot?
Yes, a lot. First of all, I need a dictionary. Second of all, Google is a very important resource. Yo, it's actually amazing. I mean, it seems to me like there's a lot of room for, he gave us 4, and I'm sure there's entire worlds within those 4, you know what I'm saying? So still a lot more research to be done.
A lot more.
And I think particularly for artists, I mean, he used, you know, the term creatives just in general. Like I was saying earlier, that a lot of, because we have the means to share more, that also means we need to be mindful of protection. And I'm not necessarily saying be paranoid, but I'm saying there's historical evidence to suggest you might want to be a little paranoid,
Yeah, you know what, I think sometimes, you know, like as a creative person, you create something, you get this, you know, this idea and it excites you, right? And you want to share it, like that's your first inclination to share with the people that, you know, are in your space in some way or another. And the thing is sometimes like just taking that step back, enjoying the excitement by yourself, and then doing the work that you need to do to make sure your idea is protected before you share can save you a lot of trouble in the long run.
Trouble, headache, heartache,
Money.
Money, right. But one of the things that he also said, though, was, you know, keep in mind, folks need to remember the business side of it.
Very
which
true.
is, there are two ways to do it. One is either to do your research on the front end, or to make sure you got people rocking with you who, you know, who know that aspect of it.
For sure.
I think that one thing I think is really cool is, like, a lot of people are building teams of people who have different skill sets to sort of move the larger vision forward. And that's certainly somebody you want to have on your team.
Absolutely. Do you have your team?
Yeah, Ryan, he about to be
Right,
part
I'm
of my
about to
team.
say, he's a part of our team.
Exactly, that's what it is. But yeah, I think it's, I mean, it was just fascinating. So many things I didn't know.
Me too.
You know what I mean? I think that's part of the issue, is that a lot of people just don't know about these things.
And that's one of the things Ryan said. He said, you know, a lot of people get into situations because they are just unaware of what to do and how to protect themselves.
That's it.
So yeah.
Yo, it was a great conversation.
Yes, it was.
I have some more research to do.
So do I.
But I'll do that next time.
Yes, keep me posted.
This has been another episode of 28 Days and Beyond.
Where we talk about our history, our heritage, and our culture. We'll see you next time.
Peace.